Good evening, my name is John Stansfield, and his name was Goodlad. 'Twas the wise woman of Lochcairn who gave him that name as she bent over his cradle on the day that he was born. Aye, she said, he has the look of a good lad. And his parents liked that name so well that that was the name they gave him, Goodlad. And Goodlad grew a good lad at the farm with his parents on the side of a mountain called Binban. But when Goodlad was 8 years old, his father died, leaving he and his mother to tend the farm, and Goodlad to be as much of a man in the family as he could be at that age. Oh, he had many tasks to do, of course. He fed the chickens and the rooster, and he tended the garden with his mother. And his main task was to herd the goats. And every morning after breakfast, he'd drive the goats out on the side of Binban somewhere, wherever they hadn't been, wherever there was grass. And he would leave them there for the day. And before dark fell, he always had them rounded up and driven into the byre and closed up safe for the night. I say before dark fell, you see, because Goodlad was afeard of the dark, sorely afeard of the dark. And so there he was inside the house before dark came, and his mother would always have his little bowl of stirabout. You may know that as porridge. His little bowl of stirabout, and he would eat it up, of course, that was his supper. But he always left a bit of stirabout in the bottom of his bowl. And he'd look at his mother, and she would nod her head, and he'd take his bowl to the door, and he'd open it just a bit, so as not to let too much of the darkness in. And he'd place the little bowl outside the door and shut it. For you see, that was what Goodlad left for the wee fairy folk, the fairy men who lived thereabout. And every morning, the bowl was empty and clean as a whistle it was. Well, after Goodlad would leave his bowl outside the door, he'd come right back inside. For you see, after supper, his mother, oh, she was a wonderful Shawnee. Does anyone know what a Shawnee is? Just say it. A what? A storyteller, I knew Moira would know. A storyteller. And she had many and many stories of the fairy folk that she would tell him. But on one day, the longest day of the year, on New Summer's Eve, Goodlad, why, he set out and drove the goats out into Binban, and there was no worry about the dark, for the sun was going to be up there in Ireland, where they live, for many hours past his bedtime. And so there was no fear of darkness as Goodlad went out searching for the goats that evening, after supper. And he couldn't find them, and he was calling the goats, and he was calling the goats. But instead of the bleats of the goats, why, he heard something else, far away. Help, 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 help. I fell in, help, 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 help. Well, Goodlad went searching around for the sound, and the calls kept up, and he got closer and closer until he was standing right next to a great big pile of stones outcropped from the mountainside. And he climbed upon the stones, and he could hear the voice, help, 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 get me out of here, I'm stuck in this rock, help, help, help. Well, he finally found a very narrow fissure in the rock, and he looked in, and there was one of the little wee fairy men. And he was the one who was stuck there. Help, get me out of here, lad. Come on now, hurry, quick. Well, all right. Goodlad reached down there, and he felt the little fairy man. Imagine your own 2 fingers now. He felt the little fairy man grab a hold of his hand, and he pulled him out and set him straight on the rock. Me hat, it fell down in the crack even deeper. Can you get it for me? Yes, there was a little red cap down there, and Goodlad reached down as far as his arms would go, and with those longest fingers of his, he plucked up the cap and set it straight on the wee man's head. Aye, thank you, lad. Oh, you know, it's a very busy day for us fairy folk here on New Summer's Eve, and I've got plenty to do, but thank you very much. Now go ahead and ask for it. What? Said Goodlad. What should I ask for? I don't know. Don't you know, lad, that when one of your kind helps one of my kind, you can ask for a wish? What would your wish be tonight? Hurry now, come on. Well, Goodlad thought, and he couldn't think of a thing on the spot, as he was, only that he wanted to find the goats, and he knew he would find them sooner or later. And so he said, I can't think of one. That's all right. I was glad to be able to help you. I can't be leaving naught but the promise of a wish behind. That's all right. Go, go. And whoosh, away went the little man, as fast as you can say Jack Robinson. And so it was Goodlad who had a fairy tale to tell his mother that night, wasn't it? It was Goodlad. And how he laughed in the telling of it.